Today on the Stay at Home Chef, I'm showing you how to make sweet potato pie with marshmallow meringue. And yes, it is just as delicious as it sounds, and I promise it's actually easier to make than it sounds too. To start, you'll need 1.5 pounds of sweet potatoes. You'll need to peel them, then dice them into 1-inch cubes. Transfer all of your cubed sweet potatoes to a saucepan, then fill the saucepan with water to cover the sweet potatoes. Then bring this to a boil on the stove. Let those sweet potatoes simmer until they're tender, which will take about 15 minutes. In the meantime, we want to prepare a pie crust, and of course I'm using my Foolproof homemade pie crust, but you could also use store-bought. You want to use a deep dish pie plate for this one so you have room for all of that delicious sweet potato pie filling. You'll want to just let this sit in the fridge until your pie filling is ready to go in. Go ahead and drain your sweet potatoes. Then I add them back to the saucepan so I can use a hand mixer to mash them, or you can use a traditional potato masher. Let them cool slightly and measure out 1 3/4 cup of that mashed pureed sweet potato and add that to a mixing bowl. The rest of the filling is super simple to put together. Just make sure those sweet potatoes are nice and smooth so you don't end up with a chunky filling. Add 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, which is always my favorite, mostly just so I can lick the spoon. So good. Add 2 large eggs, which will act as a binder and help keep everything together in our filling. For our spices, we'll add 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and finally, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. Round it out with 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then use a hand mixer or a whisk to mix this together until it's smooth. Then pour this into your unbaked pie crust. Bake this in a 375-degree oven for 45 to 50 minutes until the center is set and no longer jiggles when touched. And what I mean by that is, here we are at the end. I tap the center and you can feel that it doesn't jiggle, it holds its shape. You need to let the pie cool down completely before making your marshmallow meringue. Now that pie was super easy to make. Once it is completely cooled, it's time to make that marshmallow meringue, which is also simple, but it could seem a little intimidating. This is the hard part of the recipe, but I promise I'll walk you through it. You'll need a bowl that is heat safe, so a glass bowl works perfectly, and you want to have a saucepan where it can sit on top. We're creating what's called a double boiler. Add a couple inches of water to the pan and bring it to a boil. In that heat-safe bowl, you're gonna separate out so you have 4 egg whites. Then we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar, which will act as a stabilizer, and 1 cup of granulated sugar. Give that a quick mix with a hand mixer, and then we're gonna place the bowl over the saucepan that's boiling and continue mixing on a low speed. We're gonna cook those egg whites to a temperature of 160 degrees, which takes about 7 minutes. After about 7 minutes, you can see that the sugar has fully dissolved into those egg whites, and you have this smooth, glossy mixture. Pull it off the stove, and then we're gonna add in 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then this time, we're gonna increase the speed and whip on high until we have stiff peaks that form. And when I say stiff peaks, I mean that if you lift it up, it holds its shape. You want to dollop this on to the top of your pie, just smooth it out so that the edges get covered. And then once that filling is covered, you just end up with this mound in the middle, and you can use your spatula to fluff it up and leave all sorts of little fun designs. And then this part is totally optional, but if you have a kitchen torch, this is the only way to do it. Just keep a light touch on there because it browns really quickly, as you can see, and add some toasty goodness. This just adds another dimension of flavor. Plus, it makes it rather pretty if you ask me. That's it. You can serve it right away or refrigerate until ready to serve. The marshmallow meringue will wilt over time, but in our testing, it did stay good in the fridge for up to 3 days. Thanks for watching. You can find the full written recipe in the video description. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow, and check out the rest of my videos where you can find hundreds of restaurant quality recipes you can easily make at home. We'll see you later.